This is Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag. Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag is Baton Rouge's longest running and best television show. Who would have believed that?
My best friend, Lee Feinswag, look at the Christmas.
Sports 225 is brought to you by Breck. Remember, it all starts at Breck. Now, your host, Lee Feinswag.
What is the new half-hour?
Okay, cool.
Oh, it's Sports 225. My buddy Glenn Guilbeau from the Gannett News Service is here with me, and we got all sorts of things to talk about because I haven't even seen you in a long time, and you haven't been on the show since late in the fall, and since then we had the end of football season. We had this debacle of what's the LSU basketball season. There was recruiting and signing, your favorite time of year. And we're on the cusp of really his favorite time of year, spring and jazz festival and music season and all that. But so
The Mavericks will be at the Jazz Fest.
The
this
Mavericks?
year. Good band if you've never seen
No,
them.
no, I don't know the Mavericks.
Kind of a rockabilly rock country band. They're good. I recommend them.
You know what the only thing worse than country?
It's not. I don't really like country, but they're kind of country.
You know, last year I went, and normally since I've gotten older and I don't like the gigantic crowds, I avoid the gigantic stages.
Sure.
But it was such a beautiful day, and watched Steely Dan and
Yeah.
stayed for the entire set. They went well over an hour, played so many songs. They had a fantastic band, and what a great set. And it was like 72 degrees and sunny. It couldn't have been better.
It's one of the great things about the Jazz Fest is kind of the second line acts like the Mavericks. Lyle Lovett. You can see them in a nice, intimate situation rather than a huge crowd. And the Blues tent is my favorite spot where Ted Benoit plays.
You can always see all the guys from Baton Rouge when they play, like Ray Neal and Larry Garner if he's there, Kenny Neal when he does it, and all those guys. It's great.
Should be good.
Yeah, well, that's a different kind of recruiting. But let's start with the Super Bowl since it's still fresh in mind. When the Deflategate happened last year, did that matter to you? And do you think it was a big deal? It should have been as big a deal.
On top of Spygate, I don't know if Deflategate, I don't think it helped the Patriots win, and I don't even know how much Spygate helped them win. Mm-hmm. But what I don't like is that even if it didn't help them win, they're still cheating, or they're trying to push the outer edge of the envelope of cheating, and I don't like that. I mean,
well, let me ask you this.
They're always trying to push it. Why don't they just play right? It's their culture is to try to cheat.
Does it bother you when a guy gets to second base in baseball, though, and figures out the signs and tells the batter when a pitch is coming, a curveball or a fastball or whatever?
Well, that's during the game. That's not as and that might be the other team's fault for not disguising them. That's not putting cameras into the other team's locker room, which are some of the accusations of the Patriots. I mean, I think that's a little more gamemanship, and it's during the game, so I don't have a problem with that.
Us guys flopping in the NBA?
Well, no, that's different.
Gamesmanship too. Just throwing out some.
That's a wimpy gamemanship.
Well, okay. Nonetheless, you as a lifelong kind of a Saints fan, even though as a journalist, you're when you cover them, I know you take a neutral viewpoint. But
well, I was happy. I was happy when they went to the Super Bowl because it meant you had to cover signing day for me. You remember that?
I did. I had to cover signing day.
I think of that every signing day.
For the Gannett News Service.
Why couldn't the Saints go to the Super Bowl this year?
Yeah.
But, what were you saying?
Oh, no, and I remember I got there late that day, and it was a year when fans were not that happy about LSU at that point in February. And might have been, was it after the national championship?
That was 2010.
So it
was after a 4-loss season in 2009 and their second 4-loss season or 5-loss season in a row.
So by the time I got to the event, so let's just say I got there in time, because I wanted to see Les Miles speak. More people had come down off their buzz. They'd stopped drinking by then, and they were not a happy group.
Yeah, I think they might have got Reuben Randall that year, but I don't remember.
Who they misused through college, but that's another story. Somehow I got off the whole Super Bowl thing. So
you were asking about the
yeah.
Falcons.
So there's so many people who are Saints fans who take glee in the Falcons losing, which
I didn't get that. I didn't get that because I see why LSU fans hate Alabama because they dominated them in the 70s. They beat them a lot. Atlanta's never really dominated the Saints. I think they may lead the overall series, but since Peyton's been there, the Saints have won that. And the Falcons have never really given the Saints just a a blood-curdling loss like that 21-0 loss LSU had to Alabama. There's never really, not since '78 when you had the two Big Ben games with Steve Bartkowski that kept the Saints out of the playoffs and let the Falcons in.
There was a name I didn't expect to
Two
hear.
games in 3 weeks they lost like on the last play, both 20-17. But really, so I don't see why there's so much hate for the Falcons because the Saints usually beat the Falcons. So I didn't really get that. So I wanted the Falcons to win, because I'm just tired of the Patriots story in a way. Much like I really getting tired of the Alabama story too. I kind of like seeing Clemson win the national championship. So it would have been a nice twofer, Saban and Belichick losing back-to-back. That would have been cool. Even though I like Saban, it would have been a change of pace.
Right. Like that old Miller Lite commercial with Bob Uecker. Sports fans, gotta love them.
And you're going way back now.
The U had just been back to 1978 with Steve Bartkowski.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
okay.
that's right. No, I like the Atlanta team too, and I like the way they played, but
just too many passes there at the end, man. Just a couple of runs, get a field goal, get out of there.
Yeah. All right, favorite commercial?
The Trump hair commercial. I thought that was pretty funny. Well, what's thinner on Trump, his hair or his skin?
Thank you. I like the little girl in the Audi commercial. The girl in the little soapbox derby thing. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was funny. The halftime show was pretty good too. Lady Gaga, that was a good performance.
She's good.
Oh, yeah.
And
Bruce is still in the top 5, though. I heard a lot of people saying the top 5, and Bruce is still kind of in there, so that's good.
I'm the biggest Who fan that ever lived, and I still can't believe they did the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was the Saints year.
That was awful.
Yeah,
that was awful.
Yeah, it wasn't that good. I enjoyed the press conference though. The halftime talent has a press conference like the Wednesday or Thursday before the game, and it was like, man,
you got to go see with
yeah,
Roger Daltrey.
Roger Daltrey and Peter Townsend, like right up there, like kind of
Wow.
like Les,
That I'm jealous of.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was like when a few years ago when Elton John was here for a tennis charity event. And I'll leave us this segment, which we're probably long over on this, but everybody else was asking him all these questions. And they kept referring to the local media, Sir Elton. They kept calling him Sir. Why? So finally I told the PR person, look, I got a question, but I'll wait till everybody's
Benny
done.
and the Jets,
Yeah.
what was your philosophy?
Yeah. So they were all given this, well, that's actually that album. And so they're all asking him questions about how good it must feel to help raise money for AIDS awareness and research and everything, and they're talking a little bit of tennis. And finally she looked at me and she goes, all right, this is your chance. I go, excuse me, Elton, yeah. So I'd like to ask you about Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. It was a big double album, remember? It's a Funeral for a Friend and Benny and the Jets and Candle in the Wind and all that. So I said, is it true that you and Bernie Taupin wrote that thing in one weekend in Jamaica?
Wow, good question.
And he looked at me and he goes, well, sort of, but not really. He goes, Bernie got a lot of his, stuff done there, and then, but then we got kicked out, and we had to go to the Chateau, which I happen to know is the Chateau that they have in France, just because I know my rock history. And the rest of them were all just looking at me like, are you kidding me? And he goes, and I said, man, I really appreciate that. And I said, I have a lot more questions, but I know it's not the time or place. Maybe I'll get to see you again. Thank you. And maybe I'll get to see you again and Glenn Guilbeau again. I'm Lee Feinswag at Sports 225, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Joe Martin, president of ITI Technical College. You're not a number here at ITI. You're known by name. The staff and the instructors work diligently for your success because your success is our success. ITI is family owned and part of this community. Our 10-acre campus has been here for over 40 years. Let us evaluate your credits to determine if they'll transfer here. ITI is accredited by the Accrediting Commission of Career Schools and Colleges. ITI Technical College. Begin your journey for a better life.
Back on Sports 225, where we continued the rock and roll conversation through the break. Glenn's reading Bruce Springsteen's autobiography, and there you go.
Details we don't need to know.
You don't need to know. But I did spend the summers of my youth in Asbury Park, New Jersey. Remember,
There's
that was the album that made him famous?
Yes.
Greetings from Asbury Park.
That was his first album. There's a lot on his early years. It's a fascinating book.
I went to the Stone Pony once, the bar, when
Yeah.
I was older, where he performed. And oddly enough, I'm not the biggest Springsteen fan. I like him, and I like listening, but I've never been to a show. I never had the endurance to go to one of his 3 or 4 hour shows.
Yeah, it does take a lot of commitment.
Yeah. So we are taping this on Tuesday morning, where it's like Armageddon outside as well. Hopefully by the time you're watching this on either Cox 4 CST or the Sports 225 YouTube channel, the weather's much nicer. LSU plays basketball tonight at Kentucky, and regardless, I mean, even if LSU were to upset Kentucky tonight, it wouldn't make any difference in the grand scheme of things of what has just become a sinking ship beyond.
That would be a shocking upset. That would be Chaminade, Virginia. That would be a huge upset.
Well, it is a conference game, so it's not like an NAIA team, even though. What? How did this happen?
Boy, I thought they were not going to be that good this year, but I didn't think they'd be this bad. And a lot of it's the loss of Craig Victor, which was a school policy decision. But that was big. But I don't think they might have 2 more wins if he was still here. But they, and they have some. They've had less talented teams at LSU that have won more games than this. They got some players on that team. It's just they.
Do you know that? I did the research because every Tuesday now at 4:15 we change the day. But I go on with Matt Moscona and we talk about stuff. And a couple weeks ago I did some research, and Dale Brown's last 4 seasons at LSU were losing seasons.
Sure.
And it was a really hard time.
Sure.
And then this is the 19th season since. And so in that time you had Trent Johnson, then you had John Brady.
Well,
and now,
John
of course,
Brady, then Trent Johnson.
John Brady, then Trent Johnson, and now, of course, Johnny Jones. The last 2 years, LSU's gone 11-7 in the SEC. In the time that I just covered, in those 23 years, LSU's only had 6 seasons in which it's been over 500 in SEC play. And 2 of them were the last 2 years. And last year, they finished second in the SEC and didn't get a bid.
Right.
So that means you're talking about a 23-year span where only 6 times you've been over 500 in league play. Now,
right.
Of course, in that time, you've had a round of 16 with Brady. You've had a Final Four with Brady.
Second round with Trent.
Yep, good. But it's always been a team, not a program. And
feast or famine.
Exactly.
Brady's greatest teams were followed by 1-win and 2-win teams.
Correct.
The same with Trent.
Yeah.
And the same with Johnny this year,
And so it's fair to say that this is a very dismal basketball program. It's not fair to say that it's a good program or has been a good program for almost 25 years.
Yeah. The best run was from 03 to 06, because the 2 years before Brady went to the Final Four, they went to the tournament. The year before they went to the Final Four, they won and out with UAB, and the year
2 years before was when they went to Wisconsin.
His 3-year record. When they went to the Final Four, he had the best 3-year record of any coach in the SEC at that time.
Yeah.
People forget that. But Brady was up and down, but he had scholarship limitations, But when he had players, they were good, And then Trent just couldn't recruit at all. And Johnny can recruit, but he's not the floor coach. So, they've had a little bit, but never enough,
Yeah.
And it's really depressing how bad they've been this year and how bad they've been at other times.
Yeah, and as somebody who likes basketball and enjoys it when it's a really fun atmosphere in that building. I mean, last week at Game's End, the game. How many people were in there, would you say?
Oh man, maybe a couple thousand. And Brian Lazar made an interesting comment. He said, this team doesn't even get booed. It shows you how little people care. Because, Brady got booed. He got booed in some games.
Yeah, but Brady was always ticking somebody off.
Yeah,
Johnny's such a nice man.
But there was more passion, though. It's like there's just nobody really cares about basketball.
And this is something that we beat around and have to. It's inevitable there'll be a coaching change.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I couldn't see it not being. And in fact, I kind of think almost for Johnny's sake, I almost kind of wish they'd relieve him. To take some of the pressure off or the monotony of it, and let him look for something else. But I can't see him coming back next year with the same staff.
Yeah, no, he's I'm on record for saying unless a coach has done something wrong, and there's really an issue either morally, legally, NCAA-wise, that they should never get fired during the season. Which is why I still am opposed to having Les Miles having been fired, and I hope Johnny gets to finish the season on his own terms. But it's just. He must be so upset that these kids can't play for him, can't or won't.
Yeah. You see a lack of effort at times, but there's a lot of things that are clearly his fault too. They don't seem to have a lot of thinking into the offense, and they don't play good defense.
Yeah. But other than that, it's all good.
Right. They do score a lot of points, but they give up an incredible amount of points.
Glenn Guilbeau's here. He covers LSU, the SEC, and other things for the Gannett News Service. You can see him not only in USA Today, but in the Lafayette Advertiser and at some TV station in New Orleans. I still don't get that, but whatever, anyway. And follow him at LSU Beat Tweet. I'm Lee Feinswag. We'll be right back on Sports 225.
Don't let the bed bugs bite you. We'll put them to sleep.
Bed bugs can be transported from most anywhere. Hotels, department stores, even a friend's house.
We've got the bead on bed bugs. Call the bug man today.
Call 923-BUGS.
I don't even know what Glenn's laughing about as we're coming back. What are you laughing
The
about?
countdown. It was.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it's like a very panicky countdown.
No, no, it's good. It's good. It's TV. You know, they give you the 3, 2, 1. They give you all this other stuff. You know, and this is obviously big time TV. Ooh.
But we're not going to jump from anything like Lady Gaga did.
What a great move and a great catch too. Thank goodness she showed good hands. What did she land on? Was they ever show that?
I wasn't sure, man. But she's captivating, that's for sure.
She is. She's a very, very good performer, and
you can see the Madonna influences.
Oh, no
in
doubt.
her. But,
no doubt.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. So Glenn's here.
Won't be at Jazz Fest though.
No, Lady Gaga. I could see
That
her.
would be an interesting Jazz Fest, maybe someday.
She and Tony Bennett, doing their deal.
Tony's. That's right. She was at Jazz Fest.
Was she with him?
I think so.
Maybe.
I'm getting something confused. Tony Bennett was there, for sure.
I can look it up in the next break, but I'm not going to look it up now. Lady Gaga Jazz Fest.
Sorry if I got you off track.
No. Glenn and I have known each other for a very long time, well over, got to be 30 plus years now. I've been in Baton Rouge 32 years. You might have been at Tiger Rag when I moved here.
Yeah, in '83 you moved in.
Yeah,
right?
84, late 84.
Yeah, I was at Tiger Rag at the time.
And we both have the distinction of being advocate exes, and we share an affinity for music and music festivals. And I got a couple of volleyball coaches from around the world who want to come visit. And I told them, you got to come in the spring, and you go to places like Phil Brady's where the cover charge is like $5-6, and you get to see unbelievable music and come see the festivals. Great. The Baton Rouge Blues Festival is going to be great this year.
It is.
Great lineup.
The music in Baton Rouge is really good during Jazz Fest because some of the same acts come over.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, how we make the transition to football recruiting, which we alluded to in the very beginning.
Right.
I told the story the other day on the radio about the first time I ever covered a recruiting thing was Fess Irvin's basketball signing to come to LSU. Mm-hmm. And it's a long story, and I can't waste the time
From
here.
Gonzales, right?
Yeah.
Who did he choose LSU over?
I don't remember.
Because he was a big time. He was a good player.
He played 2 years and transferred to James Madison.
Right.
But you could go probably at 104.5 ESPN. They save it like podcast, and if you're really bored, you could watch this, listen to the story. Anyway, I was just the end result is that he signs, and the thing's over, and I couldn't believe all this fanfare because 1985 you didn't cover stuff like that. But they had jambalaya, and it's over, and then they wheel around a brand new. It's a Datsun. Remember Datsun?
Yeah.
280ZX with Fess on the license plates, airbrushed. And years later, I brought it up with Dale. I said, yeah, but I never gave you even a hard time about Fess Irvin getting that brand new sports car. And Dale yells, Johnny, this is back when they were in the Assembly Center in their offices, Johnny, bring me Fess Irvin the receipts from his parents buying him that car. Dale, I don't care, whatever. Johnny comes in with,
Middle folder.
Unbelievable, whatever.
Wow, well, it was all legit then.
So, yeah, so LSU had signing day. And how much fun did you have, and what did you think? Because don't forget, the media doesn't eat and drink like the regular people getting to watch that all day.
Well, I didn't go to the Bayou Bash. No. I went to the Coach Orgeron's press conference, but I thought he did a very good job with the recruiting class. But it needs to be said when he took over as the interim coach, Les had already had 19 commitments.
No doubt. Right.
And
his job was to sustain.
To sustain it, and he did a good job of that. He lost a couple, but he got a couple of new guys that Les really wasn't on, like Phillips from Nashville. He got him, and he kept the quarterbacks. So he kept everything together. But really, you have to give a lot of credit to Les for that class. If Les would have got fired the first time, he'd have been the first coach ever fired with a #1 class, because that's what it was ranked at the time. So Les never had a problem recruiting, other than the quarterback position. But Ed did a good job keeping that class together. But when you look at Ed, his reputation is as a recruiter, and he's from Louisiana. So I was expecting him to do a little better because of his reputation.
And it's interesting.
I thought he'd be able to keep a couple of those guys from going to Alabama, but he didn't.
And so many of the guys from this particular class are not from Louisiana.
Right.
Right.
And he knows he's got to get better. He said that at his press conference. He's got to stop the kids from going to Alabama, and he's got to get more offensive linemen.
Is it a salary cap issue?
Salary cap.
we got to take this last break. Glenn Guilbeau.
That might have something to do with it. And Dotson's.
Datsun 280ZX. I want to get you a Glenn airbrushed, license plate. But you can put on the front, whatever. We'll be right back at Sports 225.
See that dog lover? About to unleash the terror hound on these friendly, unsuspecting canines? Well, I'm the human dislike button, and I see it too. Easy there, Cujo. Taking part in a dog socialization program at a shelter or pet store can help nip this problem in the bud. And no matter how well socialized your pet is, cleaning up the little rays of sunshine they leave in their merry wake is your responsibility. To learn more about me, go to breck.org/HDB.
All right, we're back and coming down the home stretch of this Sports 225. Thanks to John Williams from Think JCW for directing the show. And you can go to sports225.com to see any of the old shows. We archive them all there on the Sports 225 TV YouTube channel. The show airs on Cox 4 NCST. All the listings are there. And read all my cool stuff at volleyballmag.com, the artist formerly known as Volleyball Magazine. I'm like, you got me laughing about other stuff, and while I was doing that, I was trying to concentrate. Now I can't even remember what I got in this last minute.
Baseball.
There's
Baseball's coming up.
LSU baseball. That's always good.
It's going to be real good.
It's still February. I'm morally opposed to college baseball in February.
Well, but when they've had the basketball season they've had, I'm looking more forward to baseball. But I'm with you on that. It's too early. But I think they're going to be really good. I think this is an Omaha team, so they could kind of save the. It's been a kind of a
but whereas
season.
Recruiting's your first favorite thing, your second favorite thing is spring football.
I would take spring football over recruiting for
Probably,
sure. I think I would, and that should be an interesting spring football too with the new coach and some new quarterback in. But I think Etling is still going to be the guy. But it's going to be interesting to see what Ed does differently in spring football.
We got to get out of here.
All right.
They can follow you at LSU Beat Tweet.
Yes.
They can read your stuff at LSU.
TheAdvertiser.com.
TheAdvertiser.com and
WWLTV.com.
there you go. And you can pick up
USAToday.com. Anywhere.com.
He's Glenn Guilbeau. I'm Lee Feinswag. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
All right. Cool.
At carnival time by Baton Rouge Bay, that's the site of my story. At Spanish Town Mardi Gras, things can get blurry. See the mowers marching, prizes fill the sky. This Spanish Town Mardi Gras, may it never die. Poetry was everywhere.